you've been going to different ballparks and singing the national anthem. So tell us how this all began and what made you want to break this record. I mean, there's a record. I think it's, what is it, 30 ballparks in one year. And that's what you want to do. You want to break the national record. Tell us how did this come by? How did this come, to fruition?
Yeah, so like over the years, I've had a few different opportunities to sing the national anthem. Back in 2016, I actually got the opportunity to sing God Bless America at Citi Field, which was like a crazy surreal moment. I literally was 16 years old. And ever since then, I've kind of just been like, oh, like I really enjoy performing, obviously, in front of like 30,000 people. Like anybody that's in my shoes trying to do this would not pass up an opportunity for that. So, kind of like when we started like booking more and more, I got the Boston Red Sox last August, and my dad actually came up with the idea about like, what if you tried to actually do the national anthem at every single major league ballpark? Like nobody has ever done that, not that I know of at least. Um, and I was like down. I was like, yeah, sure. Like, why not try something that is number one enjoyable, number two, it'll give me so much more experience and traveling to places I've never been before. And number three, it's just something cool to say that I did. So we've been having like a lot of fun. I have so many coming up. And yeah, we're just kind of like going on this journey and seeing where it goes.
Yeah. So how has it changed? Like each time you've done it too. Like the first time you did it, like do you have to change your style to do different ways with the national anthem? Because obviously the lyrics are the same, but the way stylistically it's very different.
Yeah, so it really like depends on the team and like what their requirements are. Some teams like require like a time limit. But I usually keep the rendition pretty much the same. I'm not like too fancy with it. I am experimenting in new ways to kind of like spice it up a little bit just to make it more enjoyable for myself. Just so it's like something different every single time. So in the next few that are coming up, I'm definitely gonna try and like spice it up a little, but other than that, I feel like it's pretty much like the same all the way through, depending on the venue. Because mostly in like the contract, it says like the original like rendition of the national anthem.
Ali, you've obviously sang in 12 different ballparks. Which ballpark stood out the most? What fans, I mean, who was the loudest? I mean, out of all the ballparks, what really stood out to you from all the other ballparks that you sang at?
I think City Field will always be like a top moment for me. I actually also got to do the national anthem at Madison Square Garden, which was like insane, back in March, and that I think will always be like my number one, just because it's like a bucket list item. Like the Garden is honestly insane to even say that I did. That was the loudest crowd for sure. Most nervous I've ever been in my entire life for anything, and just overall like the best experience.
So talk about what's upcoming for you. 4 stadiums in 8 days, starting on May 25th as well. Talk about what that experience is going to be like.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy for sure, especially because of all the traveling. We're gonna go from Arizona to California, and then after I come home, like 3 or 4 days later, we're heading out to Texas, and then from Texas going to Miami. So it's gonna be a whirlwind for sure. It's gonna be a little tiring, but it's gonna be awesome to just like get to. I've never been to Arizona, and I've never been to Oakland, so that'll be cool. I've never been to Texas either, actually. So it'll be cool. It'll be cool. I'm excited.
We are talking to newly acclaimed pop singer Ali Berke. She also sang the national anthem in 12 MLB ballparks and more coming soon. A couple of fans, David Burns, who knows who you are, is a big fan of yours. He actually asked me a couple of questions, and I'm going to ask you these questions. Who is your favorite team in sports? That was one. And he also said, question to Ali, how is business with your schedule over the last couple of these days, last couple of the days that you've been doing this?
So my favorite team, if we're talking about baseball, I guess I'd have to say the Mets.
Mm.
It's pretty much like growing up, I've always kind of like followed in like my family's like footsteps of like just like liking the Mets. So I'd have to say them. And then as far as like how things have been going like lately, I feel like everything has just been kind of so busy, like I'm still trying to like work full time in between doing these things, just because like it's a lot with like traveling and like doing the anthems and everything, and still finding time to like do my original music and perform my original music as well. And then along with that comes with rehearsals and vocal coaching and things like that. So I've definitely been like super busy, haven't even been able to like catch my breath, I feel like. But it's all like great things, and I'm really excited for the summer.
Yeah. So talk about like your journey into getting into music when you were younger too. I saw your first single, I believe was 2019 on Spotify. I was looking at a lot of your songs earlier, but talk about that journey, how you started, and like what is some advice you would give.
Ali, you got a new fan. Speedy is a new fan of yours.
I was listening to some of your
Look
songs.
at that.
19 through 20 was my favorite one that I heard of the ones. Yes.
Look at that.
So yeah, talk about your journey and like some advice you would give some of these younger upcoming performers as well.
Yeah, so the journey definitely is very, 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 very hard. There's things that block you, there's things that defeat you, there's things that make you want to give up, that make you think you're not good enough. I think that the biggest thing right now, I think in this generation, is that we all kind of like live through a screen. We're all very, involved in like social media and numbers and what does this person comment and what does this person look like and how their aesthetic is and their followers and yada yada yada. But I think that's like such a dark path to go down. I think that just from experience, like you can't help but compare yourself to a lot of other people. Even though like I'm doing the anthems and stuff, I can't help but compare myself to somebody that has 2 million followers that's doing the same thing as I am, just singing and stuff. And it's like, why does she get that and I don't? But then I know that people are watching me and being like, why does she get to do all these things and I don't? So I think that's like the hardest thing to kind of overcome, is kind of just like that mental battle with yourself of being like, I am good enough and like I can prove to myself that I'm good enough for, everything that I am doing. But overcoming that is hard. And I think, giving advice to anybody that's ready or willing to go on this journey is like, you have to have the toughest skin. I think the music industry is one of the most like cutthroat, horrible industries to be in. I think that there's a lot of positives, but I think there's a lot of negatives. And, you got to kind of just like find your niche to see like what path is going to make you feel the best. And, you have to be willing to fail a million times before you succeed one time.
I've been in the music industry since I was 15 years old. I've been a DJ. I've been on tour. I've been on tour with DJ Tiesto. I've been on tour with Zed. I've been
So
on
cool.
Cash Money.
I love them.
Yes, I've been around a lot of great musicians. One of my closest friends, DJ Mustard, is Drake and The Weeknd's DJ. So
So
um,
cool.
I've been around the industry. You're absolutely right. It's one of the hardest industries to get your foot in the door, but
Yeah.
it's all about who you know. In any industry that you work in, even in this industry, where I believe our show is one of the best in the industry. And the industry really needs to see what they're missing. And you're right. It's all about who's following me on Instagram, who's following me on Facebook, who's following me on YouTube. But really, it shouldn't be about the subscribers. It's supposed to be about the viewers, the people that are tuning in and looking at you and is a big fan of yours. And that's the problem right now with the industry. Social media came out and social media has taken over. I spoke to your father about that. I think it's a crock. I think it's all about talent. And that goes into this question for me. Is there a particular singer you want to work with? An album? Are you coming out with an album? Is there a single that you want to work with a particular rapper or pop singer or R&B singer that you would love to work with?
Yeah, I mean, as far as an album, there's nothing coming as of right now. Just some like singles and possibly like an EP at some point this year. But I have so many people that I would love to collaborate with. As far as like a hip hop like R&B singer, I think it'd be really cool for like Chris Brown to like have like a verse on one of my songs or something. Drake also is like incredible. I love like a lot of the people that are coming out right now. Benson Boone is someone who has like an incredible voice, and I think he's just like very creative and brilliant when it comes to his music and his songwriting. And then like my idol that I look up to is Adele. She's like my all-time favorite. But I would love to like work with her on a project. I know she doesn't do like features because she's Adele. But I would love to collaborate with her because she's another one who's just like a musical genius to me.